I've been an RBF monkey for a while now, and it's basically the only activity I still do inside of the game. So believe me when I say this, RBF has lots of problems. If you wanna jump around the video, I've structured it into a few categories. Also, I really wanna emphasize that RBF has been out for 3+ years, and most of these problems have been around for just as long. Let's start with the lack of incentive. What do I mean by that? BDO is mostly about gear, and players need to be given some sort of reason to do something. Unless you're a lunatic like me to spam RBFs, you most likely won't even touch it. I think how WoW did it back in the day was perfect. You could do battlegrounds and use it as a stepping stone in your gearing journey. Well, it is going in the right direction with the daily Ancient Spirit Dust quest. Aside from that, the 200 energy is pretty awesome for life skillers. But what about spamming RBF? How much income do you get per hour? You can expect anywhere from 20 to 30 million an hour if you do tons of 10-minute RBFs. Comparing these values without counting buffs used is not even close to grinding and various activities of life skilling. Don't misunderstand though, I don't want RBF to give more money than these activities, hell no. Those things have their place in the game and shouldn't really be messed with. I think the best example would be Shadow Arena. It had its own problems for its own video for sure, but so many damn people were doing Shadow Arena back then. It was still PvP, it had great rewards, and even friends that didn't like PvP were into it. The minigame was perfect for the game, honestly. I just kinda wish that they learned their lesson from that, but they clearly didn't with how the standalone game went. So what can we do to fix the incentive problem? For sure the best way to solve this issue would be doing small incremental changes, like giving more silver or adding new rewards for red seal trade-ins. What about rewarding players for doing well? Let's say there are 30 enemy players and you can get an extra 300k for each one you kill. So you can get up to 9 mil extra per RBF if you hunted every player. This would make it more fun and more rewarding at the same time. The Ancient Spirit Dust change is good, but it's once a day. To fix the overall issue, the overall money per hour needs to be better, not just a once a day reward. It's no secret the maps suck. Why? You might be asking that person watching that never did RBF. Well, let me tell you all about it. Let's get it out of the way. The new Garmoth map is absolute butt cheeks, and that's why no one plays it 1 week after release. Even though I did play when it released, there isn't much point talking about that singular map, since it is so clear how terrible it is. The other one is Castle Ruins, or the renewed for the 7th time old map. This might be the worst example ever, but hear me out. You know how in League you have a single map to play on, but you don't really mind it, since the game and the map are so complex. Having a single map to play on gets very boring very quickly otherwise. Even if Castle Ruins was the best map ever made, which it isn't, I'll get to it, RBF isn't complex enough to justify only having a single map to play on. So having more maps should probably be something you would be interested in, but it's not on their priority list, it seems. It took them 3 years to place an area from the game, Garmoth Nest, into RBF. That isn't even a great choice, honestly. If they did go this route though, I have a better alternative. I'm not sure about engine limitations, since in RBF they place you in another place normally. But if they did go the route of RBF being held in areas from the in-game world, what about having dynamic RBF maps? One RBF it might put you in the forests of Kama, another time it would put you in a random cave system, or anything really. But let's stop dreaming about interesting additions and talk about the map that we do have and what's wrong with it. The most obvious one is roofs. Sometimes roofs are very hard to reach and some classes can just camp it almost indefinitely, making it extremely annoying for anyone, even ranged classes, leaving or dropping down at spawn. Now, when I first dropped down in RBF, it was like your first time, you know, you never forget it. But you know what you also never forget? Having bad one-night stands and leaving RBF is one terrible one every 30 seconds. It's buggy, your character gets stuck in the air, sometimes even ported back, just fucking brrr. No, and then the amount of times you get spawn camped in the spawn area. You can't leave the spawn and for the remainder of your RBF you will die in there. And it's very hard to escape a situation like this. And usually people just give up and wait for the next RBF to start. And that small wall in front of spawn, people just camp up on top, and you have no counterplay to move out. Very fun indeed. If you do manage to get out of spawn, it's not all good and dandy either. Because of the map only having 2 major lanes, people play very passively and just wait to grab someone. This makes the flow of RBF very boring and bad. We need more clustered maps with tons of objects to see what that would do to the flow of RBF. Grab is also too strong right now, because of the map only having a few lanes, and also the fact that most solo plays are instantly punished by grabs. This makes grabs very strong, and I do think it shouldn't be so overpowered. And I'm saying this as a warrior. I can't imagine how AIDS it would be for non-grab classes. So what's the problem with the mechanics? The problem is the lack of mechanics, honestly. I like how the original map is. No mechanics whatsoever and you just run at each other, you know, like fucking apes. But that doesn't mean every map should be like that. I honestly appreciated the fact that you could kill pots and get a buff on the Garmov map. Also the fact that Garmov would spit fire every once in a while. These are fun mechanics, even if the map itself was so In upcoming maps we could have different mechanics and it would honestly be a welcome change. Quality of life changes. Now, these are more like things I would change personally, more than anything. Remove gillies from this game mode is just a stupid thing that shouldn't even be inside of the game in the first place. It promotes red classes, and playing on higher settings also means you can barely see someone in a gilly costume. Make RBF only buffs at the start of each round. You could get a villa buff for RBF, a draft for 1 silver, and so many other things. So at least you don't have to worry about getting buffed up for an RBF. You could just log in and then just go brr brr. How about making RBF into a different game mode, similar to Shadow Arena? In this game mode you would have custom gear and you can gear up in it to get like 10% stronger only inside of RBF. Having custom gear would also fix the issue of needing high gear to do RBFs. Of course some people like that fact that RBF is gear reliant, since they can flex their non-existent penises. So I'm not entirely sure about this one, but I take any change at this point. Thanks for making it this far into the video, lads. I appreciate it, you know. I also didn't mention the new tax system and how much that affected RBF, since it's a game balance issue, not really an RBF issue. Also, if you're watching me for warrior content, my next video is gonna be one on Succession versus Awakening, so that's gonna be interesting. Alright, bye bye.